Hey everyone, this is your Jolly-Plaguefather. Hey everyone, this is your Jolly-Plaguefather here, and I'm going to be reviewing a brand new roleplay. Now, this is a Fantasy Flight game, so if you ever played Warhammer or Warhammer 40k, Dark Heresy, Only War, what have you, this is by the same people. Now, I would like to note that this does not share the same system with them. You know, don't expect 40k. Here we go. So this is the end of the world. Zombie apocalypse. It's pretty. The cover's nice. It's red. Before I really go into it though, I'd like to note I don't like zombies very much. My love and hatred for zombies has kind of changed over the years. When I was a kid, Resident Evil was like one of the first video games I ever touched. First Resident Evil game. You know that scene where you're walking in a hallway and you come upon the first zombie and it's just like, I'm eating here. And you're like, that scared the crap out of me and I had nightmares for like 5 years. That was awful. And, you know, growing up, I collected so many Resident Evil things. I loved zombies. Getting into like middle school and going into high school, I kind of started seeing them as horror's easy button. You know, I want to make a spooky zombie. I want to make a spooky video zombie. I'm gonna write a zombie. So many zombies. Zombies have flooded our media just as much as, like, you know, a zombie apocalypse would in real life. There's just so many of the gosh darn things. And now, as I'm, you know, trying to get better at appreciating the dang things, if you do well, if you present to me something that is really good and it features zombies, I'll love it. But if it's mediocre or awful, I'm probably going to tell you it's mediocre and awful and I hate it. Example of a good zombie thing? World War Z the novel, not the movie. I didn't like the movie. Book was great. In this, I thought I was going to hate this. I honestly thought this was going to be garbage. I love it. It blew me away. Man, it blew me away. I got this yesterday and I read it all in a night. Now, my memory's a bit fuzzy on some of the things, but I will tell you as much as I can, and let me get to reviewing this nonsense. This is the first book in a set of 4 coming out. You're going to be having Zombies, which is the one I bought. It's the only one available right now, but the next one coming out is called Wrath of the Gods. You're going to be dealing with Cthulhu mythos themes, or like religious themes. Cthulhu is on the cover and it looks pretty cool. I believe Norse mythology's worked in there too. Next one is Alien Invasion. Expect War of the Worlds type scenarios. Gosh, I am hoping they're going to throw like a Tyranid xenomorphs type thing in there. That would be beautiful and I would love it. And the final one, which I'm kind of not super excited about, I'm still going to get it because I fell in love with the system overnight. It's Robot Uprising, so expect Terminator. The system is incredibly simple. Your stats, which you have 6 of them, I believe, they range from a scale of 1 to 5. And the system is basically you roll a d6, and if you roll under that number of your characteristic, you pass the test. But, depending on the situation, you'll get more d6s to roll. If you have good things going on, you get positive dice. And you try to roll those, and if you have any of those under your number, let's say you have a 3, if you roll under 3, you pass. And so you have like 5 chances of like 5d6s to roll it, any of them roll under a 3, you're good! But at the same time, you have negative dice. Now you get these for it being dark, or the situation being terrifying, or whatever. You roll those, they cancel out the positive dice. Not in the way you think. You don't add them all up and subtract this value. If you roll a 3 over here and you roll a 3 over here, you take those 2 out. But if you roll a 5 over here and a 2 over here, you still pass. Now if they cancel all of each other out, you fail. And if you just can't get a die rolling under your number, you fail. So, what happens with those negative die? Like, what do when you still have some? They get added up to stress, and it bothers you. You get scared, you get fatigued, whatever. And it comes back to haunt you. So any test, even if you pass, it'll still hurt you in some way or another. So very easy system. Very simple. This is actually probably my favorite thing about this game. You play as yourself. This is a game where you insert yourself, your friends, and your town into a game. And how you do this is, you have 6 characteristics, and you have 10 points, and you try to make yourself by putting these 10 points into these 6 characteristics. The max you can get is 5. So after you do this, you present your character sheet to your party, and they vote. Voting can raise or lower your characteristics. That's pretty cool, but I would just like to say that I think that could give someone some hurt feelings. Like, I wouldn't say skip the voting process, because it is very important in the game and you do get some stuff out of it, but, you know, be nice. If you think someone is definitely, like, giving themselves too much credit, let me just note these characteristics are incredibly vague. Now, vague isn't the right word. I'd say they're very condensed. Like, they could be split into many different characteristics. Keep that in mind, most of them kind of level each other out. So, like, I was looking through it and I was just like, alright, I put that as a 3 for myself, 3 being average. Basically, when I made mine in a little test run, I had 3s all across the board. And some people think that you're being too generous, or you're being too hard on yourself, and that's why you vote. You get things raised and lowered. And when that happens, you gain or lose traits. Now, traits give you positive and negative die depending on a situation. Like, one trait could be, you have a bad back. So you're trying to lift something, you get a negative die because you have a bad back. Or you have social anxiety. You're trying to meet some new people, you get a negative die. And you know, there's some good ones too, like a crazy calculator person. Oh, you got some 1 + 1s, you know that's 2. Get a positive die. You got it. You gain and remove traits based on the voting system. Well, let's say you raise a trait, or you raise a stat in a category. I'm actually not too sure on this part, so bear with me. You either get rid of a negative trait or add a positive trait, or something like that. So in the end, you should at least have 1 trait for one of these 3 categories, and that's physical, mental, and social, or something along those lines. Basically, they're the equivalent to talents or feats, but they only do so much, and I like that. I like that. This system is incredibly simple. I'm gonna say that a lot. This is super, super simple. The thing that did blow me away, the thing that I was not expecting, I thought this was gonna be like zombies. Just zombies. Your traditional Resident Evil or, I don't know, Romero zombies. You have 5 different types. You have 5 different types of zombies to play with. 5 different scenarios. And I'm gonna go over these for you. Now, I tried to memorize these names before I started, so it didn't work. I'm not good with names. I don't know if you knew that about your Jolly-Plaguefather. Never been good with names or facial features. I'm just not good with memory. I suck at memorizing things. Alright, so, the scenarios are Night at the Meteor, No Room in Hell, Pandemic, It Ends with a Whisper, and Under the Skin. So each one of these does give you a completely different type of zombie. And Night of the Meteor is meteor shower, hitting all over the world, and a radiation kind of sprinkles everywhere. Like radiation all over the place. It's gross. So what this does is it basically puts a spark into anything that is dead with brain matter still existing. This goes into animals and humans. So not only are you dealing with the recent dead humans, you're also dealing with the recent dead animals. Now, this is not contagious in the same sense that a traditional zombie bite would turn you into a zombie. You can totally get bitten. You can totally get scratched, you're fine. But as soon as you die, you've already been infected by this radiation. It is all over the world. As soon as you die, you're becoming a zombie. That's cool. I like that. Oh, and they're called ghouls in that one. I love the word ghoul. It's a good word. You should use it all the time. Like, you know, talking about your manager at the store. Man, I hate Rebecca. She's such a ghoul. It's good. So, next one. What was that? Gosh, have to look at it again. I already forgot. See that? Bad memory. No Room in Hell. Okay, so there isn't exactly an explanation. Zombies just wake up. Now, the theme for this one is religion, so it could be God punishing the world with zombies for, you know, playing too many hours of Grand Theft Auto 5. 3 p.m., you should be in bed. You got school the next morning. Stop it. These here zombies, they wake up, and this religious preacher dude is just like, God did it. And so everyone starts getting super religious and there's big cults going on, and you're also dealing with that and zombies at the same time, and it's cool. I like that setting. Pandemic. Now, if you've ever seen 28 Days Later or Quarantine, you know exactly what these are. These are your straight up virus zombies. These are not undead folk. These are like rabies zombies. These are angry rage zombies. They're fast. They're gonna tear you apart. If you die, you're not going to become one of them, but if you're bitten, you will. These are the ones that scare people the most from what I've noticed. Like, a lot of my friends are more afraid of the fast, runny zombies than the undead zombies. Next, going on, what was it called? Voodoo ones. It Ends with a Whisper. Didn't even have to look, I remembered it this time. Ends with a Whisper. I already gave it away. Voodoo zombies. Basically a voodoo cult from all over the world decides, you know what, we're taking over. So they just raise the dead and using an army of zombies take over the world, essentially. So you're dealing with people who do voodoo and zombies. at the same time. Oh, and I believe there's also possessed folk in there as well, so you're dealing with people possessed, zombies, and voodoo. Finally, you have Under the Skin. This one is probably the most interesting to me because it's dealing with a newer, or at least I think it's a newer concept in zombies. If you've ever seen The Last of Us or Halo, or if you've seen Halo and you've seen The Flood, you kind of know what this is. Basically a fungus or some sort of living organism infects the dead, and they use the dead to, you know, continue infecting people. So these are fungoid zombies. The fun thing about these ones is that you hack at them, their arm falls off, it's still infected by the fungus, so the arm is gonna crawl at you with little tentacles flying everywhere. I don't know if you know this, but I have a weakness for tentacles. I like tentacles. So a little arm crawling at me with tentacles, I'll be like, oh, you're horrifying, but let me give you 5 kisses. Okay, so this one gives you stats for zombie cows and zombie tigers. They got me with zombie cows. Like, I had to, like, put the book down and just, I was happy. Like, there was pure joy when I saw that. Oh yeah, so each one of these scenarios has the apocalypse, either the moments before it happens and then like the big, like, killings, like the mass swarms taking over everything. So it has the apocalypse, and then it jumps forward to about like 2 or 4 years later, and the post-apocalypse. Now it gives you settings and stats for each thing, and it changes the story for each. And they also give you a nice little timeline for the GM to work with. So you pretty much know everything that's going to happen, and you can play in both of these settings. You can play in the apocalypse setting of Night of the Meteor, or you could play the post-apocalypse setting for Night of the Meteor. Or you can play it all the way through and play both of them. And that's cool. Like, Pandemic. I like Pandemic very much for the post-apocalypse, because these are rage zombies. These aren't the undead walking around zombies, these are people. And in that one, most of them die out in the post-apocalypse setting, and you're mostly dealing with humans. With the fungus zombies, with Under the Skin, basically the world government's nuke, like scorch Earth, completely destroyed the Earth, and everyone's living in fallout shelters, essentially. And so it is assumed that all the fungoid zombies are gone, but you're dealing with like let's say a Fallout video game society with overseers and vaults, and you're just trying to live your life there, which could be fun in of itself. Now, this is a roleplay, so do not, by any means, let these 5 things limit you. These are 5 examples. They're very fleshed out examples, there's a lot in them, and there's a lot to do, and they're all nice, but you can mix and match, you can add things, you can make a completely new scenario for this. So please never feel limited in a game. And I know this game is going to feel limiting. It really will, because look at this. This is a core rulebook, guys. This is a core rulebook. It's so tiny. Now, I checked out some reviews for this game before I bought it, and one of the biggest issues is people saying that it's small. Is people saying that the system's too easy, that the system is, or not the system, but the book just doesn't have enough to, you know, buy for, what is it, like $36? I disagree. Yes, it is very small. The equipment list is like, what, 5 or 6 items? You know why? Because this is supposed to be playing in the real world. Like, you're supposed to start out in your own house or whatever. You can walk around and find things, and you know what they do. You don't need a list to tell you what an item does in the real world. This isn't 40K where you don't know what a Vox system is if you've never played before. You know what a cell phone is. I don't think this game is limiting. I think this game is simple. It's simple, and a creative person can do so much with it. Don't let the small section of the rules and the equipment scare you. Now, I do have to say most weapons and items are rolled into one. Like, you don't have thousands of different types of handguns, it just has the stats for a pistol, or a shotgun, or a small blade. So, yeah, that does seem a little limiting, but so? You can still have fun with it. I'm trying to think of other things to say about it, because I do have a lot more to say. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. Something I do like is that you don't really need to do much. Each of these scenarios does present you with different settings, like a farmhouse, a mall, a small town, a large city, and you can use both of these in all, or you can use all of these in all of the settings, or all the stories. So you can use them in all the stories, but basically it fleshes everything out for you. It gives you what can happen in each of these little settings for each of these stories, and you can do so much with that. You can do a lot with that. This game practically runs itself. A GM is almost not needed. I mean, yeah, you need someone to say, alright, you walk down a hall with zombies, you open a door, zombies, you turn a corner, zombies. You need that. You totally do. But the GM's work is mostly done. Okay, so something I found funny was the book tells you, or not tells you, but suggests to you to go to like a local convenience store and purchase a town map of your town. I honestly might do. You know, purchase a town map and use that for the roleplay. And that's cool. I dig that. So, as a GM, you don't really gotta make a setting. The players don't really have to make characters. They're playing themselves. The story is completely and totally fleshed out for you, unless you want to add a campaign. Like, unless you really, really want a huge story, you can totally add one. But this is mostly survival. You guys are just normal people, unless you're not a normal person. Listen, Superman, if you're watching this, you can roleplay as yourself. I mean, I don't think stats go up to 10, but you can play. Don't let your not normalness stop you from playing this game, Superman. So I got this yesterday. Came in the mail. I got off of work. I had a bad day at work yesterday. I didn't like it very much. Come home, open box, throw books everywhere, because I spent like $200 on like 40K in Call of Cthulhu books. And I get down to this, and I just open it up and I'm like, huh, zombies. I kind of put it down and I look at my roommates and I'm just like, guys, look at the things we can do. And they're just like, Dustin, or this would be my roommate John. Dustin, we're going to Lowe's. And by that he means, in the game he wants to go to Lowe's. He works at Lowe's and he believes that is the ultimate fortress. And by God, did he make it seem like it totally was. We're probably gonna be playing this eventually. I'm so bogged down with Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is not Dark Heresy. It is not Black Crusade. It's not Warhammer Fantasy. I don't know, it's not D&D. There's so much I have to do with that game. I don't know why, but it is just taking up so much of my time. Pretty much every time I get home from work, I just gotta keep working on that because there's so much I have to do, so much content I have to put in it. And I've never felt that bogged down by a roleplay before, and I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. But we're not talking about Call of Cthulhu. So once my Dark Heresy game and my Call of Cthulhu game get to stopping points, so I can, you know, continue working on those later, in an in-between stage, I would like to just kind of sit down one day with all my friends, or not all of them, a good portion of my friends, and say, we're playing this. I didn't have to do anything. It's already done for me. So, yeah, let's just get some D6s and let's roll. When I do this, I'm probably just going to do a game set with the people in my town. So the person sitting behind the camera right now, my roommates, maybe my friend Justin, and possibly Sarah, and that's about it. Now guys, I really appreciate all the asks and messages asking to join my Dark Heresy game and my Call of Cthulhu game, but I've tried running internet games before, and schedules clash, time zones like kind of punch each other, and it worked for a little while, but eventually there just wasn't time. And I'm a little wary about them, and I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna have to say no. I love the comments, thank you very much for all of the requests, but I just can't do it. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, I think my final verdict on this game is if it ever gets lowered in price, I think 30, 36, or 39, or however much it is worth it, despite it being so slim, despite it seeming like it lacks content. I think it is definitely worth it for a new roleplay. And is very simple, very fun, almost more of like a board game in a way, without pieces. Okay, that was a silly thing to say. Very simple roleplay. My final verdict for this game, I'm gonna give it 4 zombie cows out of 5. Brain moos. Yep, that's it.